Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here with me. I have been actually looking and seeing I've gotten new subscribers, and to all of you guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel. This channel, as above below, is dealing with all of the things physical as well as metaphysical. I talk about magic. I talk about all of these wonderful stuff that nature has given us, that the creator has given us through nature, which we're all thankful for. I talk about personal empowerment. I talk about relationship issues. I talk about a lot of things, all of the serendipitous events of life that make life an adventure. We're all in this journey together, even though we all have our own issues. Everybody's striving day to day to tackle obstacles and to overcome them. But at the same time, we're all in this journey together. We're all on the journey to seeking happiness. We're in the pursuit of health, wealth, happiness, and a fuller life. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that I normally don't talk about, but it's something I feel is very important for us women especially, and empowering us and helping us to have more footage in our relationships, in our lives. Why it's not such a bad thing to actually boss up and be comfortable with yourself being called a bitch. What is a bitch? And why, is that something that females usually say to each other, but at the same time, hey bitch, like what's going on, I never got that. But in this instance, the way I'm putting it, in the context I'm putting it, we're talking about it in terms of relationships, in terms of females powering up Super Saiyan style and getting what we want. Okay, as goddesses, as queens, we need to be acting as if, all right? And in order to see it real, in order for it to come to actualization, we have to start becoming it day by day. And that's just what we're going to do today. Today, I'm talking about how we can bitch up, okay? Talking about why and how men love bitches, all right? And I'm not talking about bad women who go around putting their bodies out like a tool, like a door handle to just everybody to just take a turn. I'm talking about how to actually know yourself better, how to actually project your intentions better, how to actually, go through life without some expectation, but expectation of yourself, not of others. You see what I'm saying? And just by your aura, just by the vibration, the energy you give off, the words you speak, the thoughts you think, this is going to help you achieve that. So let's just go. Let's get into it. Like the Russians say, let's do it. What is a bitch? What is a bitch, first of all? This is a dictionary definition of a bitch. A woman who won't bang her head against the wall, obsessing over someone else's opinion. This is not actually the dictionary's definition. This is a website's definition, okay? But it's a very precise definition that I've heard. This is actually the best definition that I've heard. So, once again, a woman who does not or won't bang her head against the wall, obsessing over someone else's opinion, be it a man or anyone else in her life. Sounds good? Let's continue. She understands that if someone does not approve of her, it's just one person's opinion. Okay? Therefore, it's no real importance. She doesn't try to live up to anyone else's standards, only her own. Because of this, she relates to a man very differently. Now, we know Steve Harvey's book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, talks about all kinds of ways that women need to actually change their psychology, change the way they interact with males in their life in an intimate manner, change the way we see ourselves in a relationship. And so this is why I'm doing this video today, because I think that a lot of women suffer. A lot of women go through the most heartache and stuff like that. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm speaking from experiences close to me, very close to me. And right now, this is why I want to put this message out. This is like a public service announcement to females to stand up for yourself. Say what you want. Don't be afraid. And if the person does not accept what you're saying, chances are they're going to skid out. They're going to kick rocks and get out of your life. Okay? And the people that are in sync with what you want, in sync with your spirit, with your personality, with your life, with your love, with your heart, with your mind, are going to stick around and are going to give you exactly that which you desire. So the first thing that a woman can do, I believe, in this manner now, we're talking about a few steps. I'm going to go maybe about 10 or 12 steps into how this is achieved. First thing we are going to talk about is your attitude about yourself. Okay, this is very important. When you see yourself as queen, you see yourself as the goddess energy in this relationship. You see yourself as an alpha female. You see yourself whole, complete, not needing someone else to complete you. You see yourself strong, independent, capable, able. These simple words we tend to talk about for other people. We say, oh, they've got so much potential, all of this kind of stuff, but you have it yourself. We've got it ourselves. Okay, so don't seek the man's approval of who you are. Okay, asking them questions day after day. We've all been guilty of this, asking them, oh, how do you think I look? Like, does this make me look fat? That lifelong question that we ask, seeking approval. Just because this guy tells you you look good does not mean you look good. Just because he says it doesn't look good doesn't mean it doesn't look good. It's about how you feel about yourself. It's about, your contentment with who you are. All right, you're awesome, you're incredible, you're beautiful. And instead of asking that question, you need to start telling that statement, making that declaration, saying, hey, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be. How you see yourself is going to determine the value that you are seen with throughout the relationship, and you'll be perceived by this guy or by the man in your life, even the woman in your life sometimes, as whatever you perceive yourself as, first and foremost. Because we seek validations from all kind of sources instead of ourselves. And then on this channel, I promote and I encourage self-reliance. I promote and encourage self-awareness. Knowledge of self is the most important thing in this life. All of the deities we talk about, all of the things like that, the things that we believe in, these things see you as valuable, and you are the power behind them. They have power through you. So remember that. You are awesome. You are the key, okay? And this does not, listen now, before I get into the other step, the other point, don't take this conceitedly. Don't take this as a reason for you to act like you are superior than anybody in the relationship or than anyone else in a relationship, because you may have a husband, because you may have a husband with money, because you may have a tall, like athletic, whatever. Good for you. Kudos, like, wow. Don't take it over the line. There's always that thin line that people carry it over. This is about self-empowerment. This is not about belittling anybody else. Okay. Next thing, point I'm gonna make. Whenever a woman starts asking too much of a man, this guy feels like, okay, wow, it becomes overwhelming. All right. So sometimes it's good for us to just exercise patience, sit back, sometimes just in subtle ways hint about the things we may need and maybe want or want to see happen. But don't pressure, don't nag, don't be like, yeah. Like, okay, because this is guys hate that. Remember now, if you're thinking like a man, men don't want to feed into all these feelings and these things. Oh, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. That's still making you very dependent. You need to be able to get up and become self-sufficient, be independent enough to figure out things on your own. If something needs fixing, the man doesn't always have to do it. Sometimes the man is going to feel you're going to play on his manlyhood if you actually go out there. Sometimes if you've been, let's just say you have a leaking faucet or something, and you've been asking this guy like, okay, hun, please, like, the faucet is still dripping. And he's like, oh, I know. Because this is like time number 10. You said that, right? In the span of like the weekend. Go out, either go online. This is what I do. This is how I operate, okay? I am I am Mistress Fix It around the house. I would actually go on YouTube, go online, Google it, figure it out, get the parts, fix it myself. Of course, that's because I'm a little technically inclined. I've been doing these kinds of DIY and hand, like home, like maintenance operations from when I was a little child. So these things are not new to me. But some women, they feel like, okay, oh, that's not for me to do. I don't get my hands dirty with pipes. Like I don't know what a flippin' crescent wrench is. I don't. So learn these things, and this is how you become more self-sufficient. This is how you are not needy and needing to ask this guy for so much things. Like, you don't want him to feel like, he's bearing all the weight of your life. This affection, all of these things are included. This is not just about household chores. This is not about domestic duties or all that. This goes with romance, affection. All of these things are a part of what I'm talking about. Okay, so suggestions to go out, date ideas, time, all of these things. Watch and see his interest level first. Have patience to see for things to unfold. Be observant. Sit back. This is like something I mentioned in another video where I said sometimes you have to take a step back in order to see the bigger picture. Like you can't just be all invested, like, okay, like right up in it, like in his face every day about everything. Sometimes just observe. Be observant, and that is the biggest thing you can do to see who a person really are, and 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 believe them when they show it to you. Trust me, they're gonna show you it. Time time is something for humans. This is one of the greater predictors, or determining factors of who a person really is. Give them time and they will show you. All right, then if not, then you have to take the call and like make the move, whatever move that may be. You know what's right for you. Next up, next tip I'm talking about, men are not really into hearing about all of your personal feelings on everything. Focus on you. Sometimes don't get so caught up in the communication so much, like, oh, you didn't call me when you got off for lunch. You got off an hour ago. Like I didn't hear from you. Blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, I was a little tied up. They have a different wiring mentally on how they operate. So you have to remember that as well. At the same time, this game that guys play, you can play it too. You just have to remember that you have your own set of rules to this game, because we're two different people. We're two different genders. We're two different individuals. And so you have to remember now your part in playing this game. You have to play along, but your rules are kind of different. Okay, this is applying to the same thing, just like house chores and all these kinds of stuff. Don't invest so much mentally. Don't get your feelings all caught up in this thing. Like, just a simple, us women, we have a way of getting our emotions and stuff like so deeply. Like the other day, my husband, I just finished cleaning the bathroom, and I was about to do a spiritual bath the next day because it was around the like full moon time. And so I did it the day before and said I just have one or two little things to kind of like straighten up the next day. When everybody leaves home and stuff, I have time to do this now. I want the bathroom spotless. I want it meticulously clean, like. And he came home, I think that evening, and just dropped his like work pants and socks and everything, and I got furious. I was like, oh, hell no, hell no, this is not happening, right? I was like, hey, hun, hey. And he's like, oh, but, what? I got my emotions caught up into this. Instead of me actually just saying, okay, let's just figure out how I can just get this out of the way, mention it later on. Hey, hun, like, when you see this and that and that and that, I've invested a lot of time into this. So could you please just move that? Could you please drop it in the hamper? Like, at least, like, these kinds of things go a mile long, okay? This applies to all kinds of the things that we complain about often. You know, just simply giving that space. Like I said, that time is crucial. And so for you to actually have a life, for you to actually go out there and do your own thing, make life fun for yourself, enjoy life with friends, have a social life, all of these kinds of things, have a hobby, do things, exercise that are going to nourish your soul, that's going to make your life better, make you healthier, make you stronger, make you more attractive, even everything like that. Pamper yourself. This is going to make him come running back to you. This is definitely sometimes the definition of a bitch. When you look at it, like the girls, the typical females that people call bitches, they don't have time to be on a person's ass like day in and day out. Like, where you been? What you doing? Call me. Call me back. How come you didn't answer my text? No, they are out living their life. They are out, having fun. They are out doing the things that they need to do for themselves. And so, of course, the guy is going to be like, well, hey, just checking on you. You didn't call me. Oh, I was busy. Okay, you see, you have a life. And it's very important for you to remember this. It's very important for you to know that some man does not complete you. I mean, if that's your husband, fine. That's great. If that's your boyfriend, your baby daddy, your whatever, that is fine. But you have to remember, you're playing this game, and in order for you to win, you can't be at a losing advantage at the losing end. You have to remember to stay in the game. Okay. And women also use their emotions a lot of times when they're talking to the man. So this is something that's going to take him aback, like immediately. You're always like, I feel like, you're not paying me enough attention. Like, am I not beautiful enough? Don't I treat you good? Like, do you have somebody else? I feel like you don't care about me. This guy is gonna find every avenue to get a break. So sometimes remember that you are your own person. Remember that he's his own person. Remember that just your wording sometimes can put him off, or your wording can actually make him more engaged. So instead of saying things like, oh, I feel like this way, I feel like this, because they're like, oh God, here goes this like feelings. Start saying things from a more analytical point of view. Start saying things like, okay, well, I've noticed that every time this happens, you do this or whatever, or based on what I've been seeing, there's a pattern here, or give it a more mathematical approach. Don't go so emotional all the time, because this is going to scare him. This is going to make him actually do less than what you're trying to get him to do. So always remember that. Sometimes you have to remember not to even say anything at all, sometimes. But in order to actually bitch up, you're going to have to state your intention. You have to state how, you feel like things are going, without actually saying the word feelings, the F word. All right. Then the next tip is when a man can't just pull you away from your life. This is a big one for a lot of us, because a lot of us have great responsibilities. A lot of us are trying to make strides to improve ourselves, to improve situations in our lives, trying to make money, trying to maybe work towards a business, taking care of children, all of these kinds of things. Not to mention, some of us, work, we have to pay attention to our professional life, we have things to do. And sometimes when a man comes along, we forget how important these things are. We forget to prioritize these things in our lives, and we put the man at the top of the priority list. This is a no-no in the bitch game, okay? This is what I'm seeing daily. You don't do that, okay? You need to sleep. You need to eat properly, you need to actually You know, there are certain basic needs that you have, then there are, of course, the others. And when you are not able to be easily pulled away from those basic needs, this shows how secure you are within your own skin, you know, and this sets the pace for moving forward in the relationship. If the guy decides he's gonna move to Jabim, you're gonna leave your job that you've been on for the last, say, 6, 8 years, that you've already been promoted twice on, that you're actually going back to school for a third promotion or whatever. You're gonna leave that job and follow him to Jabim? Just the question. Just the question, would you? Now, of course, you know, that's a case by case basis. But most of the time, the guy that's getting you to just snatch you away from your life is not really worth it. He's not really caring about your future. He's not caring about your well being at the moment. He's just saying, okay, you know, I need somebody to come behind me so that they can cook for me in Jabim. I can get clean clothes in Jabim because I'm not going over there to, like, you know, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say that part. So remember that. Of course, there are exceptions. Of course, not all the time you have to be so rigid about your schedule or whatever. But at the same time, you have to remember to make that evident in the beginning. Even now, if you're invested in the relationship and you're really committed, you have to still now make that effort to set that in place, to say, okay, you're going to resent the person highly when you do this, because you're going to see how far you've gone away from what it is that you were striving toward. And this person may or may not have ambitious goals for themselves even. And even if they do, that's their goals. That's not what you may have been envisioning for yourself. So you still have to remember to prioritize your life and do you. Just do you, okay? Now, same certain things, like sometimes we go out, we say we're going to go out with the girls. Like, I remember a couple of years back, I went out. I didn't even go out with girlfriends that particular time. I used to go out with girlfriends. We went to dinner and did all that kind of stuff. But this time I was going out with my sisters-in-law. And trust me, we had a wild time. But at the same time, hubby was like, you know, I thought you was going to stay home and watch a movie with me. And I'm like, no. This, I'll never forget that, because like that made me feel good. That made me feel good, being able to say no, being able to actually say, okay, you know, I had already planned this, and I'm not gonna stand them up. Stay happy and stay content, you know, meet in the middle, you know, and give only what you're able to. Don't give all of yourself. You have to keep some self for yourself. What do you have to give to other people you love? What do you have to give even for yourself if you give all to the man? Okay? Remember to keep that at the forefront of your mind. All right? Next tip that I want to talk about is mistreatment, disrespect. This is another big one, because a lot of the times we put up with disrespect and mistreatment in the most subtle of ways. You know, how will somebody be able to talk to you? Now, you have to remember this goes both ways. You know, how you talk to this man, how you interact and engage with this man is obviously, that's one part of it. But the other part is what you allow him to say to you. You know, when the person in your life you love starts calling you this bitch, starts calling you a crazy bitch, starts calling you a psycho bitch, things like that are completely unacceptable. And I'm going to say a little bit of something right now. This is just a little personal tidbit I'm going to throw in here. I remember years back, I married and have been for going on next month, March, would make 14 years. Okay, that's incredibly long. But I remember maybe I would say about 7 years ago, I separated from my husband for this very reason. And I said, okay, this is something I just don't tolerate. I won't and I don't. Like, the household that I was raised in, we didn't allow that kind of stuff. You know, we had episodes where things like that occurred, but those weren't typical. Those weren't normal. Those were totally random and abnormal scenes that happened. But because of those scenes, it made me remember who I am. It's like, okay, I am not gonna tolerate this. And trust me, the power within you, that God connection within you, knows when you're hurting, knows when you're sincerely now desiring something better for yourself and saying, go, go, like the saying goes, go with God. That feeling good is also feeling God. And if somebody's going to make you feel less than you are, less than you feel about yourself, that is unacceptable completely. And you need to bounce. All right. This guy was like, you know, I saw this guy the other day, and he's talking about a female that he knows. And he said, this female came to him with her relationship problems, talking about, oh, how this guy was doing her so bad. And she knows he has, like, this other woman pregnant and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, sweet girl, if I was you, I'd be hauling ass. Like, what you here asking me that for? Like, that's the thing. You don't have to ask anybody else how you should be treated. You should know that already. As a grown female, you should know that. Just the way they say you can't raise a grown man, you can't really raise a grown woman either. But we can redirect your thoughts. We can shift your thinking. We can actually make sense of what's going on in your life and make steps to change it, okay? Don't accept that. Mistreatment is something that is going to get progressively worse moving forward in your relationship, and you're going to regret when you had a chance to say something or do something about it. You're going to regret not doing it. Up next, the next tip I want to talk about in actually why men like or love bitches more, why they usually get what they want, is this is the same thing of basically what I said earlier about giving too much of yourself, saying yes to everything. Okay, wherever you want to go. Do you want to eat something? No, yeah, whatever you want to eat. Like, yes, like you want me to come for you now? Yeah, like, don't, for God's sake, don't be like that. This is gonna show them that you are weak. Okay, in this game, it's not about weakness. This game is about taking your strength and your power back. And this game is in you saying yes to everything. You're showing that you have no opinions of your own. You have, this belief that perhaps the guy is more important than you are. And this guy subconsciously is going to start feeling that way. Like now when you just jump up and say, oh no, I have to go to a class on Friday. It's like, what class? You better come go with me. Like, I'm coming for you. Like, and you'll be like, the nerve of him. It's too late. You've already set that pattern in motion. You have to actually now start undoing that and redirecting the path this is moving towards. Okay. The next tip I want to put up now and say is about ignoring, being able to ignore certain things that may make you feel like you're in need or you're needy. Of course, now this game is a delicate balance, like I said, because you want to also act like you are in need. However, you're not in need. I know, like, but I'm just saying, you're being an independent thinker, but at the same time, you don't want to feel like someone is limiting you in any way. All right. At the same time, you need him to step up and be the man in your life. You need him to do the things that you believe your man should be doing for you. But at the same time, you can think for yourself. You have your own brain. Okay. Mind is everything, and you have it. So we got to wake it up. All right. The next thing I want to mention is a man's insecurity. We tend to feel like because this guy is jealous, or he's like acting so obsessed with us and stuff like that, like, oh, we must be that good. Like sometimes we tell ourselves these things and they're not so true. Okay, this guy could have 5 or 6 other females, like he's checking, he's courting, he's having sex with even, and here you are feeling like you are number one, on his list, on his agenda, and he's just jealous because he loves you so much, because he doesn't want to lose me. And Let me just say something, bitch, you're wrong. A lot of times you're wrong. You're wrong. I know somebody, this guy had like 16 girlfriends, okay? And he was the most jealous effer I have ever seen, okay? Ever. This guy would do the same things that I'm saying that females we should not be doing. This guy was doing. This guy was playing like he was all in it, like he was so invested. He's like, I mean, if he could have uh, a packet on his back, like a jetpack, and he could like beam up and like land wherever that person was, whenever he can, like at a moment's notice, he would do that because that's just the type of person he was. But the person who he was with, the female, thought that he was doing this out of love, that he was just so caring and he just wanted to make sure she's safe and all of this stuff. When in fact, he was the demon who was doing all of the dirt behind her back. So don't forget the insecurities these guys play a lot of the times. That's just what it is. Their own insecurity, not their insecurity about you, their insecurity, okay? Because a lot of times either they're doing it like it takes one to know one. Like he's like, where is she? Why hasn't she answered my phone call? Why this? Why that? Like, he wants to know that you're there. He wants to know that you're someplace that he could find you. He could put his finger on and say that you're there so that whenever he needs to make a move, he can dip out and make a move and know that you're home. Whenever he calls, you're like, hey, babe. He's like, hey, just checking on you. Nigga, please. All right? Come again. The next tip I want to talk about is... This is a big one. This is a big one. And this one I had to learn the hard way for myself. When you play like you are too independent, and this is where I'm talking about that delicate line, straight line, you're teeter-tottering on this line. When you play like you're too independent, when you play like you know it all, like I can do that too, the guy is going to step back and the guy's going to let you do it. And that does not feel good, baby doll. It don't feel good at all. So this is what you have to do. Like I said, you can do that, but at the same time, you have to know when to step back. All right? You're going to get stuck doing everything this guy even was supposed to be doing a bit of. You're going to get stuck doing it too if you show him that you can do it yourself. And as a female, we should not have to do that. As a female, we were put here as a helpmate to a man. And that's the Christian perspective on that. If you look at it from a more spiritual perspective, not just a Christian perspective, not just a religious perspective, if you look at it from a more natural perspective, just look at our makeup, look at our build, look at our anatomy, look at us, like look at our purpose, look at what we do in life. Like, we are not here to do everything that a man is supposed to do. That's why a man goes out there and work. This is why the man is able to grow muscles and has testosterone. This is why the man's voice is deep and his hands are big. Like, we are not supposed to be the ones out there stressing out for every tidbit of life's woes and pains. Some things are just not for you to do. So remember that. Balance is the key. Remember that, okay? And if you've got somebody and these steps are not working in your relationship for them, if like you have like say 1, 2, or 3 of these things that are not working and that are not changing, then you need to start reevaluating that relationship. Start reevaluating your choice in a partner. All right. The last tip I want to talk about. Many things that we think that a man can give us, that we really need this guy to give us, we need from this man, we need to give to ourselves. This is the number one tip. We need to remember that everything, just as money is, sometimes we think we need this money so bad, to get whatever it is done or whatever we need to have to get it. When in fact, a lot of the times, it's not the money that we need all of the time. It's some other need that we have, but we think money is to fix it, and money is not always to fix it. Just as this instance with the man, a lot of the times we think we need his affection, we think we need his time, we need his money, we need his this, we need his that. You just let your imagination go with all of the other examples. When in fact we need to give it to ourselves, because you are the boss of your life. You are the royalty in the relationship. Both of you are. But remember that as the queen, as the goddess, as his female, who he supposedly loves and protects and professes for, you know, we have to start by giving it to ourselves. Because that which we seek is also seeking us. But we have to remember to take the power into our own hands. And this is the step to self-sufficiency. This is the step to not being needy and to bossing up your life. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to close this video out here and I'm going to hit upload. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me your feedback because I like to interact with you guys. I like to get your thoughts on these things that I talk about, and a lot of the times I do research on what I talk about unless it's something just personal that I felt the need to say. I do my proper research on these things so that I feel like I'm informed and I'm well informing you. So give me your feedback and your feelings and thoughts on this subject, and be sure to hit like right there and the notification bell next to it so that when I upload again or I'm streaming live, you guys are able to join in. Okay, so thanks so much for watching once again. To all of the people who are subscribed to my channel, new subscribers and old, thank you, blessed be, and I'm outie. Until I come back with another topic, I'm gonna say namaste. Bye.